Hello everyone, this is Christopher Niño Arca from the City of God Ministry. Today we will be making another review of this wonderful Greek New Testament sent to me by Miss Amanda Taylor of Cambridge Publishing. This review copy was sent to me in exchange for an honest and comprehensive review. But before we proceed, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to click on that notification bell so that you will be notified of any future videos that we will be uploading. And also, if you like our channel, please support our ministry by donating so we can further our ministry's mission of evangelization. So, as we continue our review of this wonderfully crafted Greek New Testament, after this video, we will answer the question, can this Greek New Testament be considered a primary text reference whenever one would like to see, read, and study the Greek New Testament? Or would it be just a secondary reference? And can I tell you, this beautiful Bible comes with a thick clamshell box. It comes with a thick clamshell box with details at the back. And you can pause this video if you would like to read all the information here. So we have here the sample font that is being shown, and this is a 10-point type. There are textual apparatuses, single column setting, paragraph format. Everything is in black. You have gilt page edges, ribbon marker, and this is definitely a sewn binding Bible. Gray imitation leather, Cambridge University Press, and this is the ISBN number. Actually, this is the only Bible I have with the clamshell box, so I actually find this really attractive. Okay, so moving on. Now, this is imitation leather. And this is an imitation leather, a rather stiff one, but in time it will, I believe, soften up. This Bible would definitely lay flat after each use. The dimensions would be 5.5 inches in width, 8.2 in length, and the thickness is 1 inch. And now this has a paste down liner, a vinyl paste down liner, I believe, and there's a shiny gold edges. The ribbon marker is approximately 2.75 inches in excess. Now, the design is engraved. And I pretty much liked it. The spine is also both engraved and printed. Personally, I don't like extravagant Bible designs. Although good-looking crafted Bibles are nice, I still prefer how the text is presented. Now, the spine hubs here, we have the Greek New Testament and the symbol and Cambridge. Now we have 4 engraved spine hubs. Now let us compare the physical footprint of this Cambridge Greek New Testament with my other Bibles. Now, we're comparing it first with my CSB Ultra Thin. You could see here that the CSB is longer in length definitely they have the same width. The thickness, the Greek New Testament is thicker than the CSB Ultra Thin. Now let us compare this with the ESV diadem. Definitely the diadem is longer than the Greek New Testament, and also definitely wider, and the ESV diadem is thicker than the Greek New Testament. Now let us compare it with the ESV Catholic edition. The same thing, the ESV Catholic edition is longer. They have the same width, and the thickness, if you could compare the thickness, I think the Catholic edition is thicker. And now to compare it with the Greek Bible. The Greek New Testament is definitely shorter than my Greek Bible, and by the width, and the Greek Bible is definitely thicker as well. Now let us open the Bible and let me show you how the texts are presented here. The paper is very opaque. I think this is 81 GSM. Single column paragraph format. The page numbers are aligned with the inner margin. This is the page content aligned with the outer margin. Now the page measurements here. The outer margin is 2 centimeters. The top 1 centimeter. Bottom margin 1.6, and the inner margin is approximately 1 centimeter. Okay, so since this is a paragraph format, the verse numbers are in bold. Definitely you will notice the verse numbers, and the chapter numbers are always on the edge of the margin, either here in the inner margin or like in other pages there. You would definitely notice the verse and chapter numbers. Now to compare the font size here is 10-point font, while if you take a look at my Greek Bible, this have smaller font size. Now let me show you some parts of the introduction worth reading, so you would have a better understanding of the content of this Greek New Testament. This edition began as a revision of the New Testament text of Samuel Prideaux Tregelles, which was used by Brooke Foss Westcott and Fenton John Anthony Hort in the preparation of their own influential edition. Westcott and Hort's text in turn influenced the editions of the Nestle and later Nestle Aland tradition. However, other than through this indirect influence, Tregelles' edition has been undeservedly ignored, unlike those of Tregelles' contemporary Constantine von Tischendorf. It was partly to compensate for this oversight that we originally used Tregelles' text as our base, but more particularly because of Tregelles' influence, strong reliance, I mean, on the testimony and on the principle of proven antiquity. Since his time, many early witnesses, especially on papyrus, have come to light. This in turn have allowed analysis of early scribal habits, which would not have been possible in Tregelles' days. Also the third paragraph. Our revision of Trigalis has ended up being more thoroughgoing than we had expected, such that this is now a completely new edition rather than a light revision. In keeping with Trigalis' documentary approach, we have sought to reduce the likelihood that any reading adopted is a mere scribal aberration, by insisting that our text be attested in 2 or more Greek manuscripts, at least one being from the 5th century or earlier. We have relaxed this rule somewhat for the book of Revelation, owing to its more limited range of early extensive witnesses. We will seek to give further transparency to our editorial reasoning in textual commentary to be published subsequent to this edition. So what are these witnesses that we are reading here? Let me show this to you. So all throughout this Greek New Testament, these witnesses are footnoted in explanation of certain contents. So these are the missing numbers and the time frame, and these are the contents where the city they have been found. I'll be explaining this later as we go along. Okay, the next part here is the order of the books. The order in which we have presented the books, Gospels, Acts, Catholic Epistles, the Pauline Corpus, Revelation, reflects the strong tendency to place the Catholic epistles immediately after Acts, while the internal sequence of the Gospels and of the Catholic epistles follows the best attested order. Within the Pauline Corpus, matters are more complex, and there would be considerable justification in placing Hebrews between 2 Thessalonians and 1 Timothy. Okay, so we'll be moving next to the table of contents. Now, as we open the Bible, we will have the simple paste down liner, title page, another title page. We have the copyright page, and printed and bound in Italy by Lego. Okay, so I was saying earlier, so we will be taking a look at the table of contents. Now, this is the New Testament. Kata here means according to. So this is according to Matthew, according to Mark, according to Luke, according to John. And then we have the Acts of Apostles. We have of James. This is of James. This is Epistle. Peter, Epistle 1. Peter, Epistle 2. John, Epistle 1. John, Epistle 2. And John, Epistle 3. We also have of Jude. This is of Jude, Epistle. This is 2 Romans. 2 Corinthians. A here is 1. Likewise, this is 2 Corinthians number 2. 2 Galatians. 2 Ephesians. 2 Philippians. 2 Colossians. 2 Thessalonians 1. 2 Thessalonians 2. 2 Timothy 1. 2 Timothy 2. This is 2 Titus. 2 Philemon. 2 Hebrews. Now here, some people would read this as Revelation, but if you ask me, this literally would read Apocalypse. So this is Apocalypse or Revelation, John. Alright, so what we will be doing next is to look at random verses from the Greek New Testament and compare it with my patriarchal text 1904. Now, to give a brief background of my patriarchal text, this is also the Antoniades text of the Church of Greece. That's patriarchal 1904-1912. Alright, so we will be first reading from the Greek New Testament, and the first text that I chose is Matthew chapter 1 verse 1. So here, this would read, a record of genealogy of Jesus Christ, son of David, son Abraham. Alright, so let us compare it with my patriarchal text. Alright, so this is Matthew 1 verse 1. It has the same render. A record of genealogy of Jesus Christ, son of David, son of Abraham. Now, actually, the difference between the two, here in the patriarchal text, there are commas after Christ and David. Now, let me show you again the text from the Cambridge Greek New Testament. So here, definitely, there is no comma after Christ and David. Just a small difference though in the punctuation. Now let's move on to verse 2. So verse 2, Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac fathered Jacob. Jacob fathered Judah, and the brothers of him. Now let's check the same text on my Greek patriarchal text. Now the same thing. Just for a while. So verse 2, Abraham fathered Isaac, fathered Jacob, fathered Judah, and the brothers of him. Now, so what's the difference here? Let me show you. This between Isaac, here in the patriarchal text, there is a comma, which is not actually found in the Greek New Testament. Let me show that to you as well. Again, in between Isaac, there's no comma. Now, our next verse comparison is Mark 16, verse 9. All right. Now, to cut the story short, you will see that there is an identifier that divides verse 9 with the rest of chapter 16 here in Mark. Now, let me show you in comparison with the patriarchal Greek text. Here, if you take a look, that's Mark 15 and then 16. Now, you could definitely see here in chapter 16 of Mark, there is verse 9. Let me, there, you see that. So, the text is one continuous text with nothing to divide verse 9 onwards with the rest of chapter 16. Alright, so here in the patriarchal text, the flow of the biblical here in Mark is a one continuous and cohesive text. It means the text is part of the block, of the text block, of the manuscript. Here in the Cambridge, there is still a bracket, an identifier dividing verse 9 onwards from the original text. Okay, so although here in the patriarchal text we don't have the shorter ending of Mark 16, which is in between verses 8 and 9, in the Nestle Aland it is still included in the text. But here in the Cambridge it is footnoted. It is footnoted. You could see that. Okay, so let me read that for you. And all, this is, and all the things having been told to the ones with Peter briefly they reported. So meta, and after these things also himself Jesus from east, okay, and as far as west, this one means sent out through them. So definitely it is this is the shorter ending of the Greek of the Gospel of Mark. Now the next verse that we would be taking a look at is Matthew 16:18. Matthew chapter 16 verse 18. That's the one. So I would render that, and I also say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock, I will build of me the church, and these gates of Hades will not overcome it. Now let's check it out with my patriarchal text. Now, where is verse 18? There. Yeah, they have the same text, definitely the same spelling. The difference is here in let's wait for that to focus. Here in Peter there is a comma, while in here there is no comma. Now the last part of our review, all right, is I will explain to you how to utilize the textual apparatus at the bottom of each texts. Okay, considering this is from chapter 1 verse 12, this word is found there, all right, and P74, if you take a look at the witness chart, there you go, P74. This is definitely how you could use the apparatus here. In comparison, you compare it with the chart at the back of the Bible. There. Now, my observation so far, even though in the introduction of this Bible it has been explained that breathings, spacings, punctuation, spellings, capitalizations are updated, so far for me it does not change the structure of the original Greek text. I haven't read the entire New Testament yet to notice in the differences in spellings and letter capitalizations. But even then, I believe this Cambridge New Testament can be a primary text reference when one is looking for an authentic Greek New Testament. There are useful scholarly tools, helpful for anyone who are serious students in Greek. And for the preachers, there are tools here that are excellent helps in preparing for sermons. So for me, this is an excellent hand-size Greek New Testament. Although I have no need for the notes, what is important for me is the texts here are very readable. I encourage anyone to consider buying this. Whenever you think Greek New Testament, then think Cambridge Greek New Testament. All right, thank you very much for watching. Take care and God bless.